So, if you had to say three books that impacted my life tremendously, what would those three books be for you?
Definitely Crush It.
Okay.
Another book would be. Oh man, this is a tough one because there's a lot of books out there. I listened to the audios of Tony Robbins' "Awaken the Giant"
Okay.
and "Unleash the Power." Right. So those two books are in audio. Are my favorite. I can't read his books. I really can't. I try to read Money as well. The Money Master of the Game. I
Mm-hmm.
can. He did a lot better with that. The reason why I can't read his books is because I originally listened to him in audio, and when you do that, you wreck it for yourself because you listen to
That's a
him in
good point.
audio, you hear the energy, the electricity behind his voice, and then when you read the book, it seems almost like flat. You've got to try and imagine his voice
Yes.
constantly in the head, and it's still not the same.
That's a
So
good,
if you're gonna
especially
pick up
his
a Tony,
voice.
yeah, 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 exactly, right. So if you're gonna pick up a Tony Robbins book, make sure it's the audio version and listen to that because yeah, it's great value.
So here's
Yeah,
something.
that's pretty much it.
Here's something related to nothing with the books. Tell us what's the biggest difference. You live in Australia and you came to Miami. What was the biggest difference you noticed from Aussies versus people in the States here?
Yes, I can answer that question. I tell people a lot actually is that you guys are really enthusiastic. Like in Australia, we have a very laid back kind of mentality. It's like, oh, she'll be right. They say she'll be right, which means like, yeah, all will be good. Like take your time, all good, like lay back. Whereas in America, you guys are like, yeah, let's get it, gun ho, hustle, and that's really what I'm drawn to. Is I love that mentality of like get out there and make it happen, be a mover and a shaker. So yeah, that was a major difference. You guys are very positive. You have a lot of crazy stuff going on in your country, but also remember your population is 10 times bigger than Australia. We got 20 million, you got like 200 million. So there's more chances of crazy stuff going on. But yeah, man, America, I love it. Love America.
The only thing we have a handful of kangaroos. You guys got millions of kangaroos. So you got us beat. And
I never seen kangaroos out, maybe in the zoos, right?
when I joined the army, they used to tell me and say, "Hey, Patrick, do you go to school on a camel?" Because I'm from Iran and I lived in Iran for 10. I said, "I've never seen a camel in my life." So yours is kangaroos because when we think about Australians, we think about kangaroos running in the freeways, jumping over cars,
Crazy.
doing what they're
What
doing. But
Well, here's a crazy story for you, real quick. Before the Addicted to Success, the sales stuff, I actually worked away up north in the northwest of Australia at the top where it's freaking hot. It's like
mhm.
120, 130 degrees Fahrenheit. It's really hot. And I was working in the fauna handling team where I used to have to remove snakes from the site. I used to catch lizards and we'd have to move kangaroos out of the area where they were working. I used to work with the environmental team. So it's crazy because I never would have done anything like that. It just so happened that I was asked to do that. And I had to go for training certificates to catch some of the most venomous snakes in Australia. Like on the last day of training, I got put into a room with 5 venomous snakes in the room and I had to catch them and bag them with like this rod and that. And I was by myself in this like 3 bedroom room and I didn't know where any of the snakes were. They're like under pillows, under the bed. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Would
So
they, would, would they pay you a million a year for doing that?
I got paid pretty good money, man. But this is the thing: you're away from your home, away from your friends and family, and you work 28 days straight, 12-hour shifts in
Venomous
a stinking
snakes.
hot yeah, in a stinking hot desert around venomous snakes. So yeah, it's a risk. I wouldn't do it again. I'll tell you that.
Well, I can tell why you're addicted to success, man. When you work with venomous snakes and you do what you're doing right now, inspiring 53 million people, man. I do what you're doing right now with the venomous snakes. Joel, question. Tell us something about you, maybe during the process of building your brand, addicted to success, a time where maybe you went through a dark side, or a time that you went through where you were kind of discouraged, things weren't going your way, you were disappointed a little bit, you were frustrated a little bit, and maybe you fought through that, or how did you handle that time when it came? Even if you do have a story like that, if you could share that with us.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So it would have been probably around about a year and a half ago. I Maybe a little bit before that. I was offered $1 million for Addicted to Success. Someone wanted to buy it from me. We're trying to, negotiate, and I had this feeling like I don't know, something doesn't feel right. I don't know if I should do this yet. And I said no. Ended up saying no. And then I got another offer because someone had heard that I've been offered, and they offered, and then they came with like a game plan of, we can do this and that. And I said no again, because my fiance reminded me at the time, Charlene, my fiance, she said, babe, this is like your baby. This is something that you've created. She's like, sure, you can go and create another website, but it wouldn't be the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's something created. You haven't finished yet. You still got a lot of work to do. And it was great because I was in this tug of war of like, should I take it? Should I not? And then when I think about it, $1 million isn't really a lot of money in the sense of like, you can't go and just live off that for the rest of your life. It is a lot of money for some people. I get that. I'm not trying to take that away from anyone that like would love to have $1 million. But what I would have done is like, buy a house or something, and then that's it. And I've got to start back from square one, maybe go back to a 9 to 5, which I'll never do. I'm telling you now, I'll never go back to a 9 to 5. And, yeah, and all those thoughts were running through my head. And then what happened was, like I said, no and all that. And then what happened was I had some problems with SEO. Google changed their algorithm, and I found there was like some dips, and I started getting, there was some competitors that were sending toxic backlinks, like spamming my site, linking back. And I started noticing I was getting these toxic backlinks, and it was affecting me and all this stuff. I've always done everything square. I haven't done black hat SEO or anything like that. It's always been proper SEO. And I started to get a little bit penalized from it, and I started to notice my revenue drop because it was based off advertising and things like that. And and I was sitting there going like, my revenue had dropped by only like a quarter or so, but it still affected me when I started to have to shift some things in my lifestyle to work around it. And I started looking at it like, I should have just taken out millions of dollars. I started to think those thoughts, that doubt where instead of going like, stop looking at the problem, focus on the solution, which I tell people all the time. But sometimes even in your own mind, you get caught up in those things. And I started looking at the money again. And I was pulled away from the money and focused on the bigger and better things. And I went back to the money. And that was the challenge. And it's tempting, man. It's tempting when someone's like flashing that money there, like, hey, you could just have this and all your worries will go away. But you've got to really, like, what I learned is you got to play the long game, man. You got to focus on having patience. Because if you put in enough work, it's going to come back to you anyway. Just keep putting value out there and it'll work.
Great
and I'm
story.
so happy I never sold it, man. I'm so happy I never sold it. And if I have problems, I'm just going to focus on the solutions.
Well, I can tell you as a reader of what you have produced by far, in my opinion, the best motivation site online for anybody to read, whether they're in financial services, business, real estate, anybody who's a startup entrepreneur. I'm a big fan of Entrepreneur. I read that as an entrepreneur, but for a motivation website, you've created the dominant motivation website online based on my opinion. Very proud of you for what you've done for a guy out there who's representing all us entrepreneurs the right way, because really that's what you're a part of. You're part of the entrepreneur groups in the world who are coming up with an idea that impacts people worldwide. And here we are, thousands of miles away from you, doing a Skype interview with you. And who knows, maybe you're going to have someone that's going to be watching this video that you'll never meet, and they'll say, I remember I watched this Skype by Joel Brown and he changed my life, and I had a chance to meet him in Australia and he told me to do this, and could lead to a lot of other things, because that's exactly what you're doing for other people. So Joel, you told me earlier you're doing something unique right now in the month of March. Why don't we talk about that real quick? Because you're talking about how you're doing motivational calls, 10 minutes a day, 8 o'clock in the morning. Can you tell us 20 seconds on how that's going to be working for people to be able to join it?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. So it's going to be every morning for the month of March, 1st of March to 31st of March. We're going to be holding 10-minute motivational pep talks to fire you up for your day. I know that it's something like only 8% of people are sticking to their New Year's resolution after the first month. And I think that's really sad. And I think the problem is that like a lot of people don't have habits, like successful habits in place. So I'm really going to focus on like, let's hold people accountable to those habits, and let's really, show them the strategies on how it can work. Because I think a lot of people want success, they just don't know how to achieve it. So having the right strategies, having that little bit of that motivation, inspiration, because motivation is a daily thing. It's like, like Zig Ziglar says, it's like taking a shower, you got to do it every day, right? So with this, it's really like, let's smash it for the 31 days. And then hopefully that's going to be enough for you. I'm sure it will be, as a wave of motivation for you to then move into a stronger form of habits. You're going to solidify your habits. And then, it's first thing in the morning is the best time. It's when your wave patterns are cycling at a higher wave cycle, and that's when you're absorbing more things in. So that's why I decided that, like, let's do this first thing in the morning. You know,
And
let's get you,
they
like,
can
just
find that.
imagine the momentum behind you for the
Joel,
rest
can
of
they
the
find
day.
that online? If they go to Addicted to Success, can they find that on your website, or
Yes.
if they can't find it
Yes.
on your website? Okay, sounds good. And if anything,
Sure.
we're going to put the link on the video as well on the bottom. So whatever the link is he's going to share with us, it'll take you to the calls he'll be doing in the month of March. And when you go to his site, subscribe to his newsletter. Be sure to follow, become a fan on Facebook. If you're a Google Plus person, you got what, 276,000 fans on Facebook, nearly 40,000 on Google Plus, 570,000 followers on Twitter, and on YouTube, you got 17,000 subscribers on YouTube. Follow his material. More importantly, share it with your teams. What he creates is strong, strong content. Joel, buddy, again, it was good to spend time with you. Hopefully next time you come to California, LA, let me know when you're coming out. We'll treat you to the best Middle Eastern restaurant in the world. And next time I come to Australia, maybe I'll reach out to you. We'll go visit some venomous snakes up there in the northwest part of Australia.
Hell yeah, let's do it, man. I'm all for it.
Buddy, thanks for joining us. Take care.
Thanks a million for having me, man.
Take care, buddy.
See ya.